Shalom. Good morning to you. Today is a beautiful morning of March 11th, 2025 of the Gregorian calendar. About 10 days away from the vernal equinox and the first full day of spring. Also a lunar eclipse this Friday. We're expecting very inclement weather for Thursday, March 13th, and Friday, March 14th. When the lunar eclipse, one where the moon, a blood moon eclipse, basically. And that being said, a peculiar thing happened this morning. I was reminded of a dream that I had about 5 years ago. Imagine that. I had a vivid dream 5 years ago when I was still living at Veterans Village in Gary. Now, I've been in my blessed new house for 3 years now. And so I had this dream about 2 years before I moved away from Veterans Village. And to be reminded of it, and I think I wrote the dream out on Facebook because it was so vivid. So I was reminded of it this morning, had all but forgotten about it. And I'm going to tell you about it. And I'm going to give you my opinion on what it means. I just had to go turn a skillet off that I forgot was on. I wrote it out again. You know, very few people, the powers that be, the wicked powers in Ephesians 6:12, they shadow ban and they censure the words of truth and the words of righteousness. But that can be a blessing as well. Nevertheless, this is the dream. I'm going to read it to you because I wrote it out. I and several other men was walking through a vast, well-lit room. Matter of fact, I can just tell you how it went. It was a well-lit, vast room. Didn't have no features to it. It was just a floor, and there was maybe me and about 7 or 8 other guys throughout the room. And in the midst of this room was stacked up, or in order, vases about 4 foot high, enamel. All of them had lids on them, and they were beautifully decorated, the majority of them. The appearance of most of them were like white, glazed enamel with very vivid, beautiful, the Chinese decorative blue writing on it. Some were more elaborate than others. And also there was a few, not many, vessels that were very plain, like terracotta, just plain old ceramic brown. Some looked brass, but they were few. The majority of them were very beautiful. And we were walking through between the vessels, the vases. And as we went through them, we would take the lid off and look to see what was inside, and we would bend over and smell it. Some vessels were full of wine, very good, well-aged wine. And some vessels that we opened up smelled putrid. I'm talking like sewage, urine, and feces. And some vessels had not so good. It was like we were determining whether the contents of the vessels were potable or drinkable. And we were instructed, I don't know if someone called out from one of the workers or somewhere else, but they said, leave the lids off to the ones that are full of wine so that the room can fill with a good odor, and put the lid back on the ones that were full of a putrid odor and mark them so that they could mark them for destruction. And I remember it was a lot of them that were very well decorated, but their contents were basically like feces and urine. And we would put the lid back on it and put an X or a mark on it. They just marked it. It was pretty much like this, choop, choop. And those was to be known for destruction. And I was reminded of that dream. And I shared it again on Facebook and shared it with a cousin. He asked me, what do I think it means? And I personally said that it seems that destruction as well as redemption to some others are coming in this generation. And according to that dream, I said there's a semblance to Ezekiel chapter 9. I can't remember if I was aware of that chapter at that time when I had the dream or not. But if you read that chapter, there is a semblance to it. And I remember I had the dream. It was early in the morning. In fact, the sun had risen already. It was still early in the morning, around 7 a.m. I was in my bedroom, and it was a very short dream, but it was very vivid. And I can remember the scene and the setup to this day. Like I said, the vases were about 4 foot high. They were very, very beautiful. And they were, enamel, the kind that you break or whatever they make those beautiful vases out of. I don't know if it's enamel or what, a porcelain, more like porcelain. And that's the sum of the dream. And to be reminded of something that I had forgotten about is significant. So that's it. Short message. Take it for what it's worth. Peace be with you.